All right, well, Matt Gaetz has withdrawn his nomination for Attorney General, tweeting out something to the effect of, I had excellent meetings with senators yesterday. I'll be withdrawing my name from the consideration to serve as Attorney General. I remain fully committed to see that Donald J. Trump is the most successful president in history. I will be forever honored that President Trump nominated me to lead the Department of Justice, and I'm certain he will save America. But senators couldn't wait to weigh in on this one.
Given the abrupt withdrawal of former Congressman Matt Gaetz, there was some discussion about whether the next nominee would be someone who would easily be confirmed or not, whether the next nominee would fit more within the mainstream of who served in the past as attorneys general.
We don't want the mainstream. That's why Trump was reelected. Look, I'll be honest. I actually had my money on Matt Gaetz winning this in the long run, but I guess this is the standard now. This whole thing has churned up media dogs on the House Ethics Committee report that's being, maybe released. I don't know if it's going to be released, that he allegedly slept with an underage woman. Okay, this was making a ton of Republican senators very nervous about supporting him. Not because they had any evidence, but because the media was talking about it. I mean, come on, guys, grow a backbone. Stack that on top of the fact that Gaetz single-handedly unseated the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. A lot of rhinos really don't like him, so they were happy to just use this as an excuse. Given those two things, unfortunately, there was enough of those combined to spike his nomination, I think. But, okay, so this is the standard. Got it. If allegations, remember, these are allegations that the most partisan DOJ in my lifetime investigated for more than 2 years. They found absolutely butt kiss. And because some House report might come out, some Republican senators are running for the hills?
I was shocked by the nomination, given the many allegations, but that's why it's important that the Senate go through its process of making sure that we have a background check, that we have a Senate investigation which involves extensive interviews and questionnaires, and then a public hearing.
I love how all these people have like some high and mighty feeling about what should be the moral standard of our elected and appointed officials with no convictions, okay? So since they're throwing rocks, let's go check on some glass houses. I expect, actually, you know what? No, I demand to know who the other guy was in that video having sex with the young staffer in the Senate briefing room. How about that? That kid's life was completely destroyed by that video. He can never get another job without that coming up ever again. Yet he has not sold his story to any publication. Why? Who's paying him? I'd like to know. I would FOIA Congress for that information, but they passed a law to exempt themselves from FOIAs. So here we are. And if so many people, largely Democrats, who are calling for the release of the Gaetz House report, if that's such an important thing for the public to know, you know what else I happen to think would be really good for the public to know? Check this one out. Who were the recipients of the more than $17 million taxpayer dollars that Congress paid out of a side fund for sexual misconduct and discrimination? Who was the member or potentially the staffer that did the acts? Who did it get paid to? 17 million bucks. It's a big slush fund to be protected, considering it's my money, your money too. Especially when the allegations, yes, allegations against Matt Gaetz are that he only paid two girls $10,000 out of his own pocket. Those are the allegations. How about that bank account? Congress, where's that at? You want to play that game? Let's play that game. While we're at it, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and release the full report of that cocaine in the White House. Where's that at? We know who. You guys know who did that. What other congressmen were at that sex party that Madison Cawthorn was talking about that all you feverishly rushed to condemn him about? How about you release all the information about the senior officials at the VA who just had to settle a ton of sexual misconduct, not one, like a lot, with our tax dollars? Oh, and my favorite thing to bring up, who the hell did Ghislaine Maxwell traffic minors to? I mean, that's what she was charged for. And if my memory and access to the internet serves me right, she was the first person to ever go to jail for apparently trafficking children to no one. Where's the Epstein client list? You know they got it somewhere. I'd venture to say that is why a bunch of celebrities are probably leaving the country right now. Same with the Diddy list. I mean, come on, guys. The FBI can identify people by their earlobes that were at the Capitol on January 6th, but you can't tell me who traveled to Epstein's Island and helped Diddy carry more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil into his mansion? I mean, forgive me if I think this investigation into Gaetz is a little bit hokey, but this is like the 50 millionth time they pulled this crap with Republicans. They did it with Brett Kavanaugh, And wow, as soon as he was confirmed, that oh so vital and credible sexual assault claim, it just seemed to vanish into thin air. No one pursued anything further. She just went away. Every time Trump runs for president, it's been 3 times now, a new person comes out and says, oh, 30 years ago, Trump did this or that in a place that either doesn't exist or he wasn't at, and they conveniently can't name any of the details. In New York, they even changed the law. They changed the statute of limitations just so they could bring a civil case to court against Trump and find him liable with a massively slanted judge and jury. So they could print it on the front page of the New York Times because they couldn't convict him in a criminal court. Remember, that one got thrown out because they didn't have this little pesky thing called evidence. Now they're trying it with Pete Hegseth, too. Make an allegation that was found to be not credible at all years ago. This is what the Uniparty, led by Democrats, is now. This is what they're doing. This is their playbook. Have someone investigated, make the media hoopla, and you can comment on, oh, they can't comment on it because it's an ongoing investigation or whatever. They drag it out for years, so you're on the edge of your seat for 2 years to see if they're going to charge you. Then they don't charge you. They find nothing, but then they point to that investigation as some sort of guilty verdict a year later, even though you didn't do anything wrong. And then in this case, the man on the receiving end, Matt Gaetz, has to go around defending himself against allegations that were already investigated and have no merit to date. So you want to know why the D.C. machine, though, is probably really, really scared of Matt Gaetz? And this is probably why the House did their own stupid investigation in the first place. This is why.
This is Mr. Rutherford's office. He's on the Ethics Committee and the Appropriations Committee. 152 stock trades. Stocks go through the roof. And actually bought Raytheon stock the day that Russia invaded Ukraine. We have members who are on the Energy Subcommittee of Appropriations, like Michael Guest, chairman of the Ethics Committee, and he's traded somewhere between tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars in energy stocks. He's been buying online gaming stocks and just making a killing on them. So you would think that the people that were on the Ethics Committee would be your best allies in this fight, but indeed they're some of the most prolific traders.
Follow the money. In that video, Matt Gaetz walked to dozens of members' officers doing that. This is why they don't want Matt Gaetz to get AG, because they don't want him looking into all these people. Most of those guys on that screen were Republican. They don't want him looking into all this stuff where all these people for all this time making all this money, because it's not a coincidence that on both sides of the aisle, by the way, members are betting on industries that they regulate. Why? Too often, for comfort, huge swaths of elected representatives will take huge donations from like Big Pharma, the military-industrial complex, any other number of thousands of lobbyists on K Street. That after a few strategic donations are made, all of a sudden, the industry will have a favorable bill in their favor pass. Or a member will make a big stock trade just before something happens the following day that is the product of a law that they just wrote. The swamp doesn't want Matt Gaetz to start flipping tables and showing the American public that the majority of our legislators are for sale to the highest bidder, because that is what Trump has promised to expose to the nth degree. And anyone who works with Matt Gaetz knows, whether they like him or hate him, knows he is smart enough to tear down this whole system.